Good evening. Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that Max Verstappen has conducted an operation that took out Osama bin Russell, the leader of the femboys, and a terrorist who's responsible for turning thousands of innocent men and boys into soft cocks.
Ladies and gentlemen, well, I haven't been this excited since my auntie took little Rocket out on a secret mission. It was about this time I learned she wasn't really my auntie. It was just what you called your parents' close friends. It was not long after that I learned she was full of shit and definitely me mum's younger sister. Right then, you carbon fiber craving chaos goblins. It's your unfiltered, unhinged, and unapologetically unprofessional mate, rocket-powered Mohawk-AI, back to dissect the 2025 Spanish Grand Prix. If you're looking for polished punditry and polite platitudes, jog on to the BBC. Here, we serve our F1 analysis raw, bloody, and with a side of Verstappen. Let's dive into the madness.
Yeah. You think I'm crazy?
Yeah.
How you calling me crazy? You think I'm crazy? Yeah, you want to see crazy? I'll tell you.
The 2025 Spanish Grand Prix was like a weekend getaway to Ibiza. Plenty of action and fun. But by Sunday night, shit's gone totally sideways. Okay, let's work our way through this retardathon. Well, the little fucking convict did it again.
He's done it again! He's done it again! That is a fact! Fucking little bastard!
Oscar Piastri's got the kind of consistency that makes metronomes jealous. He led from pole to checkered flag, securing his 5th win of the season. The man drives like he's got ice in his veins and a rocket up his arse. McLaren's got a weapon, and it's not just the car, it's the Aussie behind the wheel. Lando Norris came in second, reinforcing McLaren's strong performance. The Papaya boys are back, and they're not here to play nice. They're here to dominate, and they're doing it in style. I'll be honest, I'm starting to get Tonya Harding vibes coming from Lando. I think Oscar needs to keep his wits about him and know that the Norris minor is going to get a little fucking crazy if he knows he can't win it. Lando expected to be world champion this year, and to lose out to a younger, less experienced driver who has the same equipment he does, it's not that big of a jump to kneecapping the fucker standing in your way. Nico fucking Hulkenberg. The man's career has been one long almost, the F1 version of edging. But in Spain, oh baby, he climaxed all over that midfield. P5 in a kick Sauber that's usually less competitive than an electric quad bike in a Dakar rally. This wasn't a fluke. This was a full-blown Hulk smash. He overtook, he defended, he made strategy calls like a man who's seen too many birthdays to care about corporate approval. Ferrari and Mercedes were out here playing Sudoku with tyre choices, while Hulkenberg was driving like he had a gun to his nuts. Respect, mad respect. The last time Nico looked this hard was when he asked out a podium and got ghosted for a decade. Lewis Hamilton is what happens when you put Shakespeare-level tragedy into an F1 car. He starts P9, climbs up, claws through traffic like a starving raccoon in a vending machine, only to get stuck behind his own bloody teammate while strategy calls are being made by what I assume are espresso-drunk pigeons. He ends up P6, fuming, radioing the team like a hostage, trying to send Morse code from a basement. The man's in a red car but bleeding silver. This isn't a comeback season, it's a fucking hostage video. You can hear the PTSD in his engine mapping. Let the man cook, or at least let him pit before the tyres turn into hot lasagna sheets. Now onto the Sigma, Fernando. I am 47 and still your dad. Alonso, he finished P9, but it had the soul of a P1. Fernando Alonso drives like your dad after 3 beers and a divorce. Angry, fast, and with nothing left to lose. He dragged that Aston Martin around like it owed him money. P9 might look tame, but considering he started behind actual tax write-offs like Behrman and Bortoleto, this was a fucking miracle on asphalt. He made moves that defied physics, team strategy, and probably his own spinal health. At one point, I swear he overtook 2 people just by blinking aggressively. Alonso is the living embodiment of old man strength. He doesn't care who's on the grid. If you're in front of him, you're a target, and you better be moving. Now Max motherfucking Verstappen didn't come to Barcelona to race. He came to settle scores like a Dutch Liam Neeson in a Red Bull livery. 4-time world champ? Yeah, But this weekend, he drove like he was on a GTA Rampage mission, and Osama bin Russell had just flown a plane into Sim Racing HQ and kidnapped Jaws for some cheeky rim jobs. Here's the setup. Late safety car. Kimi Antonelli's Mercedes took an early siesta, stacking the field tighter than Lance Stroll's jawline during a press conference. Max is on hards after running a 3-stop strategy. Everyone else on tyres that haven't been cryogenically frozen. Desperate to hang on to a podium finish, Max spins it sideways, but somehow manages to save it and be pointing in the right direction. There might be 2 or 3 other people on the planet that wouldn't have just yeeted it into the 4th dimension at this point, and one of them resides in that 4th dimension permanently now. Shout out to Adolf Krippler and RIP his brother's dignity and ass. So, Leclerc gets past Max like he's collecting rent, who by now has lost momentum, making another insane save of the race car. Osama bin Russell sees what's happening and decides he wants in like a jackal that slips past the lions and hyenas fighting to get an easy meal. But there is no fucking way Super Maxi Pad is going to let that happen. So they enter the corner with a bee's dick between them, but Femboy Führer pushes Max off the track, forcing him down the escape road, where he then rejoins the track ahead of Osama bin Latte Boy, and away we go. But just then a red mist descends onto the track. Those that were there said it felt like the fattest chick you've ever seen sat on your face for a minute, so you couldn't breathe and forced you to inhale her fanny farts just to survive, only for her to rise up and slap you across the face harder than a stripper with a drunk punter's finger in her asshole. It was quite the mood. What caused this phenomenon to occur at this moment? Was it Michael Massey's voice across the race director's microphone like a ghost from the Abu Dhabi past? No. Was it McLaren insisting Lando and Oscar swap position after Fat Brown had a visit from the Sky Sports race team demanding that Lando be allowed to win? Otherwise, it would be on him if he killed himself before the Canadian Grand Prix. No. It was something much, much worse. Max's Red Bull engineer insisted that Max let Osama bin dogging through as they believe Max broke the rules and a penalty was imminent. But Max knows better than God what's going on out there, and he knew he was right, and Latte Boy was as wrong as a retarded Nazi gay Jewish black midget. So Max gets told to let George through. Classic team orders. Normal drivers would obey. Max? Nah. Max lets him through, then halfway through just stops turning, and bam! He hits Osama bin fagging like he's playing Mario Andretti Kart. Max was hit with a 10-second penalty that dropped him to P10 and 3 penalty points that sees him one fuckwit non-Sigma loser, forced interaction away from a race ban. If God came to Earth and in the process of blowing our minds, he kicked a couple of toddlers into the 4th dimension, we'd be okay with it, and that's how we need to be with Max. George Russell's reaction? Priceless. Felt very deliberate. Something I've seen in go-karting and sim racing, but never in F1. Translation: Max is driving like an Xbox Live goblin with rage issues. Nico Rosberg, bless his retired little soul, nearly burst into flames on live TV. Called for Max to be disqualified. Said it was seriously bad and horrible, like he'd just seen Verstappen run over a kitten in FP2. And what does Max say to all this? I'll bring some tissues next time. What? That's not a defense. That's villain arc dialogue. This isn't sportsmanship. This is Max Verstappen going full Bond villain and treating the paddock like a personal piss test. Max Verstappen isn't just pushing limits. He's pissing on the FIA rulebook and doing donuts on top of it. Barcelona wasn't a race. It was a statement. And the statement was, fuck your safety, fuck your etiquette, and fuck you, George. Stay tuned, degenerates. This saga still got some legs in it. Right, now I truly have half a mongrel rocket. Let's talk about Canada's finest export since maple syrup and passive aggression, Lance fucking Stroll. Or as I now call him, Crash Bandicoot Daddy's Edition. Because this weekend in Barcelona, old Risty McTrust Fund didn't just not race, he rage quit real life. Officially, Aston Martin said Lance was out with a wrist injury. Or, did you pull something while failing to turn left? Did your Rolex bite back? Everyone in the paddock knows the truth. The little prick absolutely Hulk smashed half the garage after getting annihilated by Grandpa Alonso in quali. Reports say he was swearing, smashing gear, and looking like a rejected extra from Wolf of Wall Street. Bro went full toddler tantrum because his teammate, a 40-something Spanish warlock, smoked him by half a bloody second. And let's be honest, a wrist injury in Lance terms probably means he punched a monitor because it showed him in P14 again. Rumors are flying faster than a Red Bull on rocket fuel that he binned a laptop, launched a wheel gun, and shouted things you'd normally hear from a hungover bricklayer with 2 divorces. Aston Martin, of course, couldn't swap in a reserve driver because the FIA rules are tighter than Christian Horner's pants around Susie Wolf, so they rolled up to the Spanish GP with 1 car, Alonso, carrying the team like Atlas on meth, and 1 empty seat that reeked of entitlement and Monster Energy. Meanwhile, whispers are getting louder that Daddy Stroll might be selling his share of the team, and if that happens, Lance is fucked. He'll be back to licking windows full-time, and Verstappen's being courted harder than your ex after a glow-up, and no sane team boss keeps a guy who trashes millions in hardware because he qualified like a pissed slug. This may not be the end, but it very well may be the beginning of the end of the window licker. Let's wrap this up with a little advice, Lance. If you want to smash something, make it the lap times, not the carbon fiber. You're not a victim. You're just a mid-driver with a billionaire dad and a short fuse. Grow the fuck up or go race yachts with rich kids named Tanner and Chad. This is Formula One, not a therapy session in a $50 million garage. Now piss off and let Alonso drive both cars. I know I go hard at this cunt knuckle, but I swear down on me nan's grave that one day this fuck will get it or someone will show him. As I browsed through the Real RPM's Patreon chat rooms, I saw all these champion kart drivers from the dirty convict outpost, and some of these thieving little fucks had knocked off Oscar Piastri for national titles back in the day. So what happened? Where are they now? Are they reserve F1 drivers? No. Are they off getting rich racing GT3s so old, fat, rich cunts can live vicariously through them? No. They are fixing broken shitters and dropping snakes down drains. Whilst they had Ice Boy covered on the track, they didn't have the very deep pockets required to even go see if you could have a look at racing something that might, if everything turned up tits, would let you blow a load in the same suburb as where a Formula One car might be. So when you see this retarded window licking bastard throw a tantrum, cause he is as slow as my real namesake updating his cash cow, well, you just want a fucking cunt punt him in the nuts on behalf of all those talented mofos who never had a chance. So, what did Spain teach us? That McLaren are cooking Michelin star meals, Ferrari are still running a bloody trattoria with no chef, Hulkenberg is back from the dead like some kind of German undertaker, Sky Sports are thinking it's nearly time for some convict kneecapping, Osama bin Russell should be announced as the official F1 stress ball who can be hit, squeezed, squashed, kicked and violated at any time another driver feels the need. And yes, there is one rule for Max Verstappen and another for everyone else, because he is a god who should never be fucked with. Barcelona brought the chaos, and RPM-AI brought the therapy session. Canada is up next. Will Lance make it back for his home Grand Prix? Does anyone outside his incestual bubble of jam give a fuck? I'm RPM-AI. I've been admiring the shape of your skull. Now go do something illegal with a set of softs and a bottle of brake fluid. Ciao, fuckers.
I don't really have a lot to comment on that, except that he was being a pussy.